My name is David Sousley, and today I'll be giving a presentation on POP3S and SMTPS protocols. So what is the Post Office Protocol? It's an internet standard protocol used by local email software clients to retrieve emails from a remote mail server over a TCP/IP connection. And we're currently at version 3. It's been used since 1984 and has become one of the most popular protocols, and it's used by virtually every email client. Its popularity lies in the protocol's simplicity to configure, operate, and maintain. Email servers hosted by internet service providers also use POP3 to receive and hold emails intended for their subscribers, and periodically the subscribers will use email client software to check their mailbox on the remote server and download any emails addressed to them. Once the email client has downloaded the emails, they're usually deleted from the server, and although some email clients allow users to specify that mail copied or saved on the server for a period of time, email clients generally use the well-known TCP port 110 to connect to a POP3 server, and if it's encrypted communication is supported on the POP3 server, users can optimally choose to connect either by using the STLS command after the protocol initiation stage or by using POP3S, which can use the transport layer security, so TLS or SSL, secure sockets layer, on TCP port 995 to connect to the server. How does it work? When a user checks for a new email, the client will connect to the POP3 server, and the email client then supplies its username and password to the server for authentication. And once connected, the client issues a series of text-based commands to retrieve all email messages, and then it stores these downloaded messages on the user's local system as new emails and deletes the server copies and disconnects from the server. And by default, the server emails are deleted once they are retrieved, and as a result the emails are tied to that particular machine, and it would not be possible to access the same emails from an email client on another machine. The user could get around this issue by configuring the email client settings to leave a copy of the emails on the server. And the post office protocol frees up mailbox space on the server because emails and attachments are downloaded and deleted at server end whenever the email client checks for new emails. Some advantages of POP3S. Emails are downloaded to the user's computer, and messages can be read when the user's offline. Opening attachments is quick and easy. It's already downloaded, and less server storage space is required. All emails are stored on the local machine, and it's very popular and easy to configure and use. Some disadvantages: emails cannot be accessed from other machines unless you configure it to do so. Exporting the local mail folder to another email client or physical machine can be difficult, and email folders can become corrupted, potentially losing the entire mailbox all at once. Email attachments may contain viruses, and that can expose the user's PC to harm if they were opened locally and their virus scanner is unable to detect them. So configuring POP3S using Dovecot, and Dovecot is an IMAP server for Linux, Unix-like systems written with security primarily in mind. It also contains a small POP3 server. It supports mail in either of mail direct or inbox formats. And the first command, the vi/etc/dovecot.config or .conf, enables POP3S and IMAPs and opens the default config file. The second line here, protocols equals. This makes sure that POP3S and IMAPs are enabled. And then you need to set the PEM encoded x.509 SSL TLS certificate and private key. And you can do that by these two commands here. And then you save and close the file, and then restart dovecot. So some hardening recommendations. So the first, you can limit the number of connection attempts to the server. And how you can do this, you can go to the EAC and navigate to servers, and then go to servers under that, and then in the list of servers select the client access server and then click edit, and then on the server properties page you click POP3, then you scroll down, you click more options, and then under the connection limits you use the following settings. You go to maximum connections, and that'll specify the total number of connections that the server will accept, and this will include the authenticated or unauthenticated connections. The default value is like what? It's a lot. It's like 2 billion something, and the possible values are from 1 to 2,147 and something. The maximum connections from a single IP address. You go there, it specifies the numbers of connections the server will attempt or accept, excuse me, from a single IP address. And the default value is the same as the maximum connections default value. And then same with the maximum connections from a single user, and then also same with the maximum command size, which is in bytes. And then once you configure that, you click apply and then click OK to save the changes. The next, another hardening recommendation, you can set the connection timeout limits for POP3S. So in order to do this, you go into the EAC and you navigate to servers, then you click on servers, and in the list of servers you select the client access server, and then you go into edit, and then on the server properties page you click POP3, you scroll down, go into more options, and then under the timeout settings you use these following settings. So for the authenticated timeout, you can set a value between 30 and 86,400. The default value is 1,800, so you set that. And then the unauthenticated timeout is in seconds, and it's the same, or it's a different default value. The default value is 60, and its possible values are between 30 and 3,600. And then you click apply and save the changes. And for the third hardening recommendation, you can configure IP addresses and ports for POP3S. And how you do this, you go into the EAC once again, and you navigate to the servers, click on servers, list of servers, you select the client access server, then you click edit, and on the server properties page, you click POP3 again, and under TLS or unencrypted connections, you click add, and then on the add IP address page, under the IP address, you can select one of the following. You can select all available IPv4 addresses, all available IPv6 addresses, or you can specify an IP address, and then under port, enter a port number, or you can accept the default port and you click save for that. So SMTPS for Linux, so Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, or SMTPS for short, is a secured protocol that's used for sending outgoing mail, and services functioning in clear text have become depreciated, and port 465 TCP was officially assigned by the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority in 2018 for SMTP messages submission using implicit TLS. After connection is established following a successful TCP IP handshake, implicit TLS will immediately initiate the TLS handshake with encryption from the beginning of the handshake to the end of the communication. In the case of operating on port 587 TCP. Command is used to initiate the TLS handshake when a connection is encrypted and clear text is detected. And the process of sending an email begins with a sender opening whichever user agent they prefer to compose a message. A destination email address is provided, and then the message is pushed to the sender's SMTPS mail server, and then it's relayed over the internet to the intended recipient's SMTPS mail server. And code 220 is received by the SMTPS client, and this starts the handshake. The intent of the handshake is to require both the client and the server to authenticate themselves, which services can be negotiated, and to authenticate the identities of the sender and the recipient of the email. And the SMTPS server sends an acknowledgement code 250, which indicates the messages can be accepted from the client if the handshake is successful. And the SMTPS client sends one more command called data to the server, ensuring the server side is ready. If the server is ready, it responds with code 354, and upon receipt, the client will proceed to send the email message line by line, and the server waits until it receives a special line from the client that consists of a single period, and that period indicates to the server that the client has finalized sending the message, and for the server to start processing the message. So for Windows, SMTPS services utilizes the Internet Standard Simple Mail Transport Protocol to transfer emails between servers using SSL/TLS encryption. Windows uses SMTPS in conjunction with Internet Information Services, so IIS, to communicate with other servers. IIS is a server created by Microsoft to collect requests and return the correct output by protocol. The SMTPS service is a component of Microsoft IIS and needs to be configured to accept traffic on port 465 for encrypted mail to flow appropriately. Once the mail server is configured, the default domain needs to be specified to stamp messages and allow an address to send mail to and from. Windows SMTPS servers, such as Microsoft Exchange, are similar to Linux email servers, and they both provide basic functions for the operation of the mail server. Both Windows and Linux also provide the ability to configure the email server, SMTPS domain types, drop folders, during the installation and configuration process. So for SMTPS Windows hardening, so the first hardening feature, you can have one local default domain, and how to configure the default domain. The domain is used to stamp messages from addresses that don't contain a domain. By default, the name that you specify on the network identification tab of the system is used as the default domain name. So all incoming mail messages that are designated for the default domain are placed in the drop folder by default, and that is located in the mail root folder. And you can change the location of the drop folder. And how you do this, you click Start, you go to Programs, go to Administrative Tools, and click the Internet Services Manager. Then you double click on Default SMTP Virtual Server, and then click Domains. Then you right click the default domain, and then click Properties, and then click Browse, and locate a folder that you want to use for your drop folder, and then you click OK. So the second one, enabling transaction logging. This will keep a record of all the messages that are received and sent. And how you do this, you click Start, you go to Programs, go to Administrative Tools, and click Internet Service Manager. And then you right click Default SMTP Virtual Server and click Properties. And then you click on the General tab. Then you select enable logging in the checkbox, and in the active log format box, you click the log format in which you want it to record information, and then you click properties and specify the settings that you want to use. You can specify settings to include log time period and the location and the name of the log file, and then you click OK, and then click OK again, and then you're good to go on that. And last but not least, for the third SMTPS Windows hardening, you can set relay restrictions, and by default all computers are denied relay access. Microsoft SMTP service doesn't allow computers to relay unwanted mail through the virtual server, and also all computers are denied relay access except those that meet the authentication requirements that are specified in the authentication box on the access tab. And by default, if your virtual server is on the internet, it is not recommended that you grant relay access. And how you grant or deny permissions to relay messages through the SMTP virtual server. First you click Start, and you go to Programs, and then to Administrative Tools, and then click Internet Services Manager. Then you right click Default SMTP Virtual Server, and then go to Properties, and then click on the Access tab, and then under Relay Restrictions you click Relay, and then you click either Only list below, or you can click All except the list below, and then you click Add, and then you click the settings that you want to use, and you add computers, the group of computers, or the domain that you want to specify as exceptions to the access setting that you selected. And then once you've done that, you click OK 3 times, and that is it. Thank you for listening to my presentation today.